let's get this rolling. We are playing another Incinerator build. This one is a little unique slash may not be all that great. We'll see how things go with Wayward Guide Beast. This is a card that I've tried out in 8-Wax Zoo. Was alright in that build. Not particularly great, not particularly bad. Somebody recently did, I think, a 5-0 with this. It was talked about in the Burn Discord a little bit. So be like, what the heck, we'll try it. It's basically Mono Red Burn, Swift Spear, Goblin Guide, Wayward Guide Beast. The new hotly contested card from Zendikar Rising. Some Seal of Fires, Lightning Bolts, Lava Spikes. 4 Rift Bolt, 4 Skewer, 4 Light Up the Stage, which this feels like a really awkward card with the rest of the cards in the deck, but c'est la vie. 3 Castle Embereth feels like a bit much with only 13 mountains, but we'll see if that comes back to bite us. 4 Mountain Up Ruins, so if we happen to flood out, we have plenty of things to do with our mana, even though we don't have the canopy lands. This is a very budget-friendly version of Burn. I do believe the original version is like 20-some ticks on Magic Online. So a little bit more with what we did with the sideboard. The part of the sideboard that I found particularly interesting was Claim the Firstborn. So, like, stealing your opponent's Termagway or Death Shadow and smacking them in the face with it seems quite good, especially in situations where they're trying to leave like 1 blocker back. 4 copies of Ratchet Bomb. This definitely feels like anti-Death Shadow tech pretty much. 2 copies of Smash to Smithereens, obviously for Chalices. 2 copies of Skullcrack when you need a little bit of anti-life gain, along with Roiling Vortex. This is a Gigantha deck, as we are playing, meeting the requisites for it. And finally, the original version of the deck was playing Gaia's Blessing. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with Gaia's Blessing, it's clearly uncastable in our mono green deck unless or mono red deck unless we have Gigantha in play and tap it for mana. Yeah, seems pretty far-fetched. Basically, it has a clause that if it goes from the graveyard from your library to the graveyard, it basically shuffles your entire library back into your graveyard. So I figured, why not screw with people a little bit more and play Emrakul the Aeon's Torn. As noted, this is kind of anti-mill tech. It's not really anything that will cast anything ever, but it's an interesting card to kind of mess with people a little bit. But, you know, this card's only coming in 1 matchup, and the reason why, you know, obviously was the Mill Deck won one of the Modern Challenges this past weekend. So, beyond that, let's get into some matches, as I started a little bit later than I intended to. So I'm not sure we're going to get entirely through the league tonight, but we'll at least get some games in here. So, hope everyone is doing well tonight. Well, I know it's had a slight uptick. Like, there's been some people that, especially with that new crab, they were just excited to try it out, so. This hand is pretty reasonable. On the draw is unfortunate, but still alright. This hand's pretty easy. Did I have an Eldrazi? Oh. No, I had the Rock. That should be a pretty decent matchup for Rock, isn't it? Especially if you can manage any type of clock. Like between Abrupt Decays and whatchamacallits, you should have a pretty decent time with the Rock. Rocking and rolling. Problem is here is if we're against a Jund variant, they could Edict Liliana Edict the Chandra's Incinerator. So this may not be the best game plan. I guess we'll see. I kept a 1-lander? Seems pretty ambitious. Ha! Luris Rock. Wow, that's even worse. I think we use Skewer here since it's actually harder to cast in future turns potentially, so. They have a Terminate. Feels like our opponent has a Terminate. It's kind of unfortunate, but Assassin Trophy. Okay, sure. Feels like we're up against Death Shadow, though, not traditional Jund. Because that deck is freaking everywhere right now. Let's cast Goblin Guide here. We can activate Castle Embereth next turn, in addition to casting Wayward Guide Beast. Yeah, I apologize for a little bit of a late start. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Do they have enough answers? Triggers. Bren 6? Looks like they're... Sure. Oh wow, with the whole Fatal Push hand. Man, must be nice. Oh yeah. A lot of it depends on what's going on with life. Like when I played, when I was on day shift at work, I actually did a lot more. Should have played the Seal of Fire here, but really doesn't particularly matter. Because we have enough mana and resources to kill our opponent here. When I worked morning shift more, I was able to do it more often. The problem I had with morning shift is I was often too tired to do too much. So even though I could like theoretically play like almost every day, I was just too tired. And then working second shift, I had like the opportunities on whatever my days off. So like Wednesday nights was usually like Pioneer, and then that was about it. I could play there at the end, but yeah, I played paper when I could. We don't know if our opponent is on a Jund Death Shadow variant or if they're just on Jund with a poor draw. Well, good draw against an aggro deck, poor draw against our particular brand of aggro. I honestly don't know if I want Incinerator in this matchup. Like, Ratchet Bomb doesn't feel good, because if they're not on Death Shadow, it's too slow to answer Goyce most of the time. Claim the Firstborn just does that better. Roiling Vortex and Skull Cracks could be good. I think on the draw, we take out the Wayward Guide Beasts. And then... what else are we cutting is the question mark. One Incinerator. Is they're a little bit harder to set up against discard spell decks. Try it like that. Yeah, but I generally stuck to playing the Eternal formats because I really don't like trying to keep up with Standard. Like there was a time where Standard was the only format that I could play. So I mean it was fine, but I definitely prefer Eternal formats. Although Standard can be fun sometimes when the Standard formats are good. The Standard isn't great, but I do think it was a keep. Really would like to draw land here. And how are you doing tonight, Sweet Liberties? Jig is up. Take one of the Lutzes. Okay. Well, I mean, it's a card. It's probably just going to die. Yeah, well, they drew a lightning bolt, so that'll definitely kill it. Land. Well, I mean, force them to have multiple answers, I guess. Trigger. Fatal push. Okay, so we know our creature's dying over the next couple turns. Oh. Wish you'd hand me a another Assassin's Trophy. That would have been wonderful. Another land would have been great there. Rogue Modern. Interesting. Yeah, I don't even know if my LGS is running things right now. Like, the problem with my particular work schedule has just been, it's... Being on the 1 to 10 shift is just miserable for doing certain things. Hence why I've really gotten back into Magic Online. Not that I wasn't playing Magic Online, you know, last several years, obviously doing content on YouTube and such, but opponent is being very careful not to expose their creatures to claim the firstborn, but at some point here, unless they find a Liliana, they're going to have to do something. Say land would be great here. I think this claim the firstborn is some savage tech. It doesn't. My days off change, but my shift is set. I work at Walmart in the fresh areas, and at this point in time, there is only either 4 to 1 shifts or 1 to 10 shifts. So there is no. Looks like they're going to try to go for the Ren ult. Is that what they're trying? They could potentially have Weather the Storm here, but I don't really have a way to play around it, so... Alright, puts us one land away from killing them. So even with Lightning Bolt here, I don't think they can kill us, per se. Alright, so... Unless they have Weather the Storm, they're just dead here. Nice. Yeah, I work a steady 1 to 10, so... I tried the 4 to 1 shift, and I just couldn't get a... just couldn't find a consistent sleep schedule for that shift, so... It was annoying that I had to go back to first shift, or second shift, but... So I'd like to play first, reveal my Gigantha. This hand could get awkward, but I still think we keep it. Obviously leading on Swift Spear. Ah, blue deck. So Pile, perhaps? We just use this opportunity to pressure our opponent. Trigger. Trigger on the stack. Plains. Bounce Castle Umbra to our hand. So are you an Pile? Nope, you're likely Jeskai. Okay. No, you're a Stoneforge Mystic deck. Okay. You really think that Batter Skull is going to matter? Okay, cute. Belcher. Maybe. I'm not really familiar with what the new Nahiri does because honestly it hasn't been relevant. I don't even think I've seen it played in Standard, let alone in Modern, or... I've seen a lot of the new cards pop up in Modern. Like, I find it funny that... Well, maybe. Charming Prince? Sure. Whatever. Gain some life. Don't care. Big hair. Just don't care. Does that gain 3 life? Yes, it is. Why is that gain 3 life? I don't know. Because magic's a thing, I guess. They're still dead, right? Yep, do that. Okay, so... Bolt that. Skewer your face. No, it's not taxes, because taxes doesn't usually play fetches. It could be... I suspect either way that they were missing a color that game. So, as to which color they were missing, I don't know. Problem is, we don't know what to bring in because we don't know what they're on. We saw, like, Charming Prince, Stoneforge Mystic, Lightning Bolt, and question mark. So we don't know if they're Jeskai, we don't know if they're red-white taxes, potentially. Like, there's a lot of things they could be. We honestly don't know. So... So we bring in a couple of cracks, a couple of smashes. I don't think Claim the Firstborn's particularly good in this matchup. Like, we don't know what creatures they're playing with yet, so we don't know if it's actually good or not. So I'm going to bring those in and bring the Wayward Guide Beasts out on the draw. Kind of go from there. Incinerator could be really good or really bad, depending on what their setup is. Why the Eldrazi just tuned in. It's basically a mill tech. It's a really cheeky version of what was in the original deck. The original deck had Gaia's Blessing, so I decided to get really, really cheeky and throw the Emrakul in. And that's the only reason it's there. It's literally just being cheeky. Okay, it looks like they're red-white taxes of some variant. Feels like they're really holding up Bolt. Goblin Guide and Riftbolt, huh? So this is one of those awkward spots where we can't actually cast Riftbolt because it requires us to actually cast it. So we're just going to cast Seal of Fire and kill the Giver of Runes. Because I'm not going to play Goblin Guide there because it really feels like they're specifically holding up Bolt. Especially in HD. So should I even cast the Goblin Guide here? Honestly, as dumb as it sounds, it feels like I'm just supposed to cast Riftbolt in their face and be done with the turn. Okay, there's Spyro. Braden Flagstones. Okay, so they were definitely holding open some type of removal. Another Giver of Runes. Let's see if they willingly trade Seasoned Pyro here. Stoneforge Mystic. So we don't care about Stoneforge Mystic anymore with... How am I cheeky in HD? I'm kind of confused by that one. So exactly how does it change? Oh well, that's going to be a problem. So now we have to kill every single creature they have. That seems doable. That seems doable. Where's a Rakdos burn deck when you need one? So they have sort of feast and famine against us too. Okay. Why would you... Okay. Moving on. Those of you wondering if there's a reason to play a splash, Worship is also a card that qualifies as something that is a reason to play a splash. I still don't think this is a Claim the Firstborn matchup. Their creatures aren't really that impactful. I guess we're bringing in some number of Ratchet Bombs? Question is, how many? Doesn't feel like we need the Skull Cracks, maybe? Skull Cracks give us outs to the big red idiots. Or to the anti-red idiots. Maybe trade a Lutz and a Skewer, maybe? Try it like that. Alright, yes, I'd love to play first. Advice? Use one of the low-end rental services and see if you like the program and what decks you like before you buy into buying a deck. That would be my advice. You can get a low-end rental from Mana Traders for like $10 a month for like a lower-end budget deck if you just want to try out the program first. If you know what deck you want to get into, you still might be better to rent for a month or two until you see if you like playing the program. Beyond that, I wouldn't dump a bunch of money into the program right now. This hand's fine-ish. Do I put back the Incinerator here? Keep. What am I putting back is the question mark. Might be crazy, but... I mean, Ratchet Bomb at least gives us outs, right? Like, they're not great outs, but at least gives us outs. Which, I at least gotta give whoever designed this deck credit. They have some outs to stupid things. Even if they are not the best of outs, so to speak. Does Goldfish actually have... I don't think Goldfish has the actual cards. I think they're just the... kind of the price point thing is all. So what'd they grab? They grabbed Batterskull. Give them the chance to block first. Give her Reverence, sure. No blocks. Okay, we're going to cast a Lutz. Because the usual buying things is either Card Hoarder or Card Hoarder and MTGO Traders. MTGO Traders I have personally bought from, and I have been very happy with their service. Flagstones, okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that trade. Hexproof is fine, but I don't know that it's particularly well positioned in the meta. Alright, they've got a Seasoned Pyro. Let's see if they pitch their Batterskull. Probably not. Skyclave Apparition. It's actually a card you might have wanted to hold on to. Of course, they could always have another one, I guess. Bolt your face. That's a nice one. Bolt your face. Do the Incinerator thing. Do the Ratchet Bomb thing. So we gotta start ticking that up sometime. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 power currently. Double bolt, kind of unfortunate. Need to charge this guy up. So many different ways to end the game, yet. Just wish you'd play your freaking Banner Skull already. Got an interesting mix of cards. I do need to find something here soon. I guess that qualifies as something. Six power, F2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, I can't actually cast the Seal of Fire? Question mark? If they have a bolt, I guess I'm dead either way. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, if they have Smash to Smithereens, we're just dead. Not Smash. Bone Crusher Giant, I mean. So, props to our opponent here. Okay. Two, 4, 8, 9. Okay. Okay. Gotta do that before we cast our lethal spells. Seal of Fire. Alright. That was kind of a crazy game. That was a very crazy game. Alright, so Giganta. Don't think this hand's keepable. It's the one of Castle Embereth, obviously coming up in this case. Plus Wayward Guide Beast being our only creature. Santa Mulligan. Ew. Guess we keep. Back Seal of Fire, I guess. Cancel. Yeah, put back a seal. So it's gonna get real awkward. I think we don't actually attack here, which is crazy. Oh, humans. Delightful. This is not the hand to deal with humans. Guess we were supposed to keep the Seal of Fire over the Lava Spike. Oh yeah, that could be a problem. Got over there, friend. So we get a lot for this matchup. Claim the Firstborns and a bunch of Ratchet Bombs. Don't think we're winning this game, though. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and scoop to Untitled Mariner. Alright, Wayward Guide Beasts, you're coming out, friends. Claim the Firstborns and Ratchet Bombs, you are coming in. Question is whether a card is going out. One Lutz. Earth Bolt can be a little tricky. Scare the Critics can be a little tricky. Incinerator can certainly dominate the battlefield, but it also can be very clunky in some spots. Try like this. how is everyone doing tonight? We're trying out an experimental version of Burn that recently did a 5.0. I believe it was like a 20 ticket deck. Not playing any of the canopy lands, not playing any of the white cards, obviously. A lot of this stuff is relatively cheap online, so I was kind of skeptical of the Ratchet Bombs, but then the more I'm looking at it going, oh, okay, they might actually be pretty good. Blood to play first. There's a Gigantha. Wow, this would be a gamble hand, right? So if I were to guaranteed hit a second land drop, this hand is very, very good. However, if I don't hit a second land drop, this hand gets really awkward really quickly. So what do we think? Is this a keep or a mull? I'm leaning towards a mull because if we don't hit a land drop, we're in that one draw step, we're in a lot of trouble. So I am going to mulligan here. This hand looks much more interesting. Back Lava Spike, I suppose. Next turn might be a lot of fun. Hopefully they don't have Thalia. Actually, no. The worst case scenario would be Meddling Mage here, but I can't really play around it, unfortunately. Aw, opponent gets to ruin all the fun. We don't get to hit for anywhere near as much as we possibly could have. Oh well. Okay. Reflector Mage, sure. Taking 2. Actually 3. Learn 2 Noble Hierarch math, friend. Could we play Ratchet Bomb here? In paper, I have Burn, Tron, and the artist formerly known as Is It Phoenix? So they're going to take our Seal of Fire, which is unfortunate. It's 2-0 so far. Humans is a rough matchup for even fully powered Burn. So Mono Red's going to struggle with it too. Which that part isn't surprising. How you doing tonight, Bandit? Were you streaming tonight earlier? I think you were. Weren't you on a different game tonight than Magic? Could have sworn I saw you on the streaming list earlier. But we're down a game against humans, and barring some type of miracle, we're kind of essentially dead here. I don't even know what the miracle could be at this point, because we're taking 8 this turn. So even blowing up these 2, we're dead next turn. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 next turn. Are we dead next turn? 2, 4. Yeah, because of this attacking, we're just dead next turn because we're taking 2, 6. Why wouldn't you attack with Reflector Mage there? That part doesn't make sense. So, Crack Bomb. Blow up their 2/1 drops. Play double Swift Spear and pray. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to have to block something at least. Okay, I know I saw because I saw you playing that, and then somebody else was playing. I think Hooglin was playing another game, and then there was somebody else playing another game, and 1 or 2 people were playing Magic tonight. So what is Sea of Thieves about? Not to be... sounds too dumb here. Another Reflector Mage? Yeah, I'm probably toast. This doesn't kill us, I don't think, but I don't think we have any outs that kill to allow us to stay alive here, so... Yeah, I wouldn't attack with Sin Collector here. 3, 4, 5, 6... Yeah, I wouldn't be attacking with Sin Collector. Yes, it does present lethal. But this is the card that I wouldn't be attacking with. Because it just trades. So what combination of cards would have potentially gotten us out of this? I don't think there's any, honestly. Ah, interesting. Yeah. Unfortunately, the Human Menace takes us down. Go figure. It's already a terrible matchup for traditional burn. So, mono red version, even worse, especially with the awkward. Yeah, I'm going to eventually get back into WoW here, World of Warcraft, with new expansion coming out, but definitely focusing on Magic for the next couple weeks. Sounds fine, especially on the play. So we get to go Goblin Guide into double spelling, so even with the downside of Wayward Guide Beast, it's still pretty decent, barring some type of shenanigans. See, the fun part about Gigantha... Oh, well, we're up against Prowess. Boo. Don't think we're particularly well set up against the mirror match. I guess Claim the Firstborn's fine. It's not exciting. Just play a creature. So the problem here, we know they have a Wild Slash, so they are probably on mono Red Prowess. We know the Goblin Guide's likely the one dying if they... Yep, they're definitely on mono Red Prowess. Yep. Just play Seal of Fire here. Force them to be more judicious with their spells if they have a creature here. At least the nice part is Goblin Guide didn't draw many creatures. Alright, Bandit, have a good night, man. Or woman. So we still don't know if they're on mono red or if they're on Is It. I can't help but think this Wayward Guide Beast is just dead, right? Wow, they're going to Lava Dart and double Lava Dart? Sure. I think I am perfectly fine with those exchanges. Problem is we don't play a particularly good long game. Like, what do we have for this matchup? Claim the Firstborn and Ratchet Bombs? Okay, so they're most likely on red, because Izzet doesn't play Lava Spike. Hello, beautiful. I am perfectly fine playing half retail for this card. Because if I get to untap with it, ooh, the fun that's going to be had. Confirmed, they are mono red burn. I don't think they realize this doesn't particularly matter, but okay. Don't think you read the fine print on the card, did you? By fine print, I mean it has trample. So you're dead. Alright, so mono red, we want the smashes, some number of ratchet bombs, some number of claim the firstborns. As to how many, I don't know, because we don't know exactly what their creature complement is. Claim the Firstborn cannot steal Bedlam Reveler, but obviously it can steal Monster, Swift Spear, and Soulscar Mage. Ratchet Bomb, obviously only particularly good against... Might actually want Roiling Vortex here as an anti-life gain thing against... whatchamacallit? I don't know for sure. This is one of those ones I'm just kind of like, maybe. Wayward Guide Beast could definitely come out in this matchup. Might actually trim a Goblin Guide, question mark, since creatures kind of die quite easily in this matchup. And then beyond that, try it like that. Gigantha also gives us a late game card should we hit a certain amount of lands. Wow, that's an awkward hand. This hand isn't particularly great, but I do think we keep it. Did not want to draw in their land here. Dragon's Claw, yep. really like a way to deal with this. Soulscar Mage and Dragon's Claw. Depends on if they go all in on the Soulscar Mage, I might be forced to They have a braid? Oh, that'd be bad. Yep, they have a braid. Not really much I could do about that, I suppose. Okay, opponent with still a lot of gas in hand, because obviously they've been stuck on lands here. Yep. There's a Swift Spear. There's a Lightning Bolt. Goes for 2. Lutz would be really bad. Of course they have a Lutz. Goblin Gun and Swift Spear. So we play Gigantha and Prey. No attacks. That is interesting. So what does that tell me about their hand? Honestly, not a whole lot. Okay, Lava Dart, sure. Why are they Lava Darting my face? That's kind of... Oh, Bedlam Reveler, gotcha. That's a heck of a last card. Yeah, Crash through's a card. Pretty sure we're dead this game. The screwy part is we wouldn't be that far off from casting Emrakul. Just a thought. Can't be spent. Never mind. Can't be spent to pay generic mana costs. Okay, if you have another burn spell, we're dead here anyway, so kind of whatever. Okay, is that going face or is that going at you? Yep. It's a heck of a progression with that Bedlam Reveler. Does that change how we sideboard? I think we want the other Goblin Guide back in on the play. Probably want the light at the stage. And do we even want Ratchet Bombs? I think those might just have to come out. They're just not particularly good in this matchup. Maybe one Claim the Firstborn come in. Skewer comes in. Try like that. One Giganta. Seems pretty reasonable overall. Problem is, obviously, we can't really win a long game against them, so we want to try to kind of tempo them out a little bit. Would not hate to see a Incinerator come rolling off the top in the next turn or two. That's bad. Alright, Goblin Guide's not terrible here. Bolt and a Remnant Runes. Maybe they only kept a one-lander. Nope, so much for that hope. Yeah, that's a problem. Another Rift Bolts. Should have put Giganta in my hand. Be a good turn to draw a Incinerator. This was not a terrible turn to draw a Goblin Guide. Okay, Giganta to the hand. Soul Skirmage. Last card in their hands, number 8. Okay, so now they get to crack that. Sure. Can the 5/5 get there before they hit a Bedlam Reveler? Please don't be a... I was going to say, please don't be a Bedlam Reveler. This 5/5 needs to go a long way. Especially against Double Dragon's Claw. Maybe I was supposed to leave in the... Please don't be a Bedlam. Okay, Lutz is annoying enough, but... There's a Bedlam Reveler. Fortunately, if this were like an Obosh, we could like just kind of dumpster them this turn, but it's not, so... They get to cast on a Braid before they cast Bedlam Reveler. Sure. And they get to cast the Lutz. That's kind of annoying. And like, it doesn't even lose them life because of the Dragon's Claws. Oh, just with so much damage next turn. Sure. This is where Mono Red Prowess looks like an unbeatable force when it's just a... Go ahead and scoop it up here. Our deck can't compete with this nonsense. Yeah, even with gas off the top, we're still in some trouble. One final match. Wahaha. Alright, one final match to determine it all. Getting to play, which is nice. Giganta. Four-lander right out of the gate is a mulligan, unfortunately. His hand's okay, but not, like, exciting. Opponent's mulliganing aggressively, so... Tron or Dredge, maybe? Bogles? Bogles would just, like, complete the trifecta, wouldn't it? Okay. So, Mono Red Prison, perhaps? Dragonstorm? Oh no, we're up against Belcher. Okay. So this is just a get him dead matchup. Gotcha. They can't play that untapped or they die. See if they realize that. We get to play the Boogeyman. Is that a concession? Feels like a concession lockup. Yeah. Okay. Slow utility. Okay. Goblin. Char Belcher. Okay. Ley lines. Collected company? The Informer. So definitely want the smashes. Probably want the Vortex. Incinerator is probably actively bad on the draw, especially. And then maybe a Ratchet Bomb. Because the problem with Incinerator is it requires them not to have Leyline. Question is, I don't know how aggressively they actually mull the Leyline. Throw a couple bombs in here. Throw a lava spike out, I guess. Okay, this hand's got pressure, so I think it's definitely a keep. Yeah, Leyline doesn't surprise me. Obviously, if they have something like Anger of the Gods, we're going to be really sad, but... bouncing our lands isn't great, but at least we're pressuring our opponent. Are we dead, Jim? Yep, we're dead, Jim. We get to see how they sideboard against us. Ley lines, talismans, ley lines. So they're not boarding in any alternative win cons. Nope. 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 Maybe. The Grotched Bomb seems to go up in value, like when we consider that they have some amount of artifact mana. Maybe I'm not supposed to bring in all these, though. Skewer the critics. Just can't be cast for 1 mana in a lot of these situations. So we died on turn 3, seems good. Hand's okay, it's not super exciting. Problem with this hand is we only have 1 creature to pressure their life total. At least the positive with Goblin Guy is we know that well, that just sped up the clock considerably. Does that enable a turn 3 kill? I don't think so. So if they have the turn 3 kill, we're probably dead. Okay. Really? This is just bullshit. Yeah, that's... complete, total, utter bullshit. Not only Belcher cheese, but Belcher cheese on turn 2. You know, it was a funny, cute little meme whenever it was the mono green, like, forest, thin out the forest deck. That was cute. You know, now it's just stupid. Like, I don't even care if it's consistent. It's just stupid. And yes, I know there's a lot of decks that can beat it. Discard decks can beat it. Force of Negation decks can potentially beat it. You know, there are things that can stop Belcher. Ley lines could beat it potentially. But I'm sorry, lining up effectively a turn 3 kill and just doesn't matter. Anywho, as far as this deck, you know, we beat the first 2 decks. I don't even remember what they were at this point. Then we lost to Mono Red Prowess, traditional Mono Red Prowess, and Humans. Humans is obviously a difficult matchup for Burn of any type. Mono Red Prowess could just outgrind what this particular deck is doing without access to something like Relic of Progenitus or something. And Belcher, not going to take much from that matchup other than, you know, we have a effectively 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 mana lined up, or 7 damage. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they were dead the next turn. Granted, they would have had to play the tap land. So they wouldn't have had the exact sequence of cards they had. They would have had to play either the Emeria or the Ironcrag Feet one untapped, which would have been 3 damage, which would have guaranteed a kill effectively on turn 3, and then we could have killed them the next turn through their nonsense. Yeah. I mean, Ratchet Bomb felt fine. Like, I think in some small numbers it's fine, like maybe a 2 or 3 of. I think the anti-Miltech's kind of nonsense. Generally Burns in pretty good shape against Mill anyway. So I don't know that I would, like, play this, like, random 1-of slot that's just kind of, like, cheeky, obviously. And then Claim the Firstborn. That card felt fine. Like, there's definitely some board states and some matchups where Claim the Firstborn's a good card. Like, it had its spot against humans. Obviously, the humans board can get clogged up really quickly. Yeah. But as far as Wayward Guide Beast, so we were boarding it out a lot, but there were some matchups there like Belcher and against the red-white, whatever that deck was that we beat. Like, Wayward Guide Beast was fine. Like, a lot of it depends on the sequencing and the whatever of the deck. But I do think, you know, when I talked about what red cards could see play in the format, and I touched on Wayward Guide Beast, I said that the decks that would be able to play it would be an 8-whack Goblins or an 8-whack Zoo kind of deck, and then a low-to-the-ground mono-red burn deck with a bunch of 1 casting cost spells. And effectively, this deck is a pile of 36 1 casting cost spells. If you're able to trigger your skewers and your light up the stages. So, I think it meets the criteria of what Wayward Guide Beast could be a good card in. I do think this is the kind of deck that could benefit from some Canopy lands more than something like Ramunap Ruins. But yeah, if you're looking for a budget entry, I don't think this one's terrible. Like, this deck felt playable, if not necessarily good or great. Some of it was some of the matchups we faced, and some of it was just Belcher being Belcher. You know, at least in Legacy, when I sign up and I understand I'm dying to Belcher with a burn deck or a Goblins deck or, you know, those kind of decks, I'm cool with it because there's Force of Will. You know, I can play blue cards and have Force of Will and beat Belcher. But in Modern, it's just obnoxious. But until it gets consistent enough, WotC's already proven they're not going to take out turn 1 and turn 2 decks in the format, so... Anywho, enough for my ranting about Belcher and such. I do think this deck is fine. Don't think it's great. I think the sideboard would need some tweaking. I can see how it 5-0'd. You know, we were very close to a 3-2 there ourselves, so without taking the results too seriously, I think Wayward Guide Beast is playable once again in very, very, very specific shells. This one and something like the 8-whack aggressive deck. So, anywho, thank you everybody for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, please consider giving us a follow here. If you're checking this out on YouTube later, please consider giving us a subscribe. And if you really like our content, please consider subscribing here on Twitch if you have Twitch Prime, or if you want to throw a sub our way, that'd be greatly appreciated. So, this has been John for MTG Nexus. I hope everybody has a great evening.